Hello.
Hello. How you doing?
Doing well. It's nice to be back in front of the camera on a Monday morning.
Yeah, you did a phenomenal job with that edit, by the way. We're going to talk about it, but wow. Yeah, this is a little easier.
Yeah. Last week we were not quite sure how much footage did we get. It was a little bit of a shorter episode, but kind of a special one, taking you on a trip around New York City with us.
Yeah. But we're back in the mill with a lot that has to get done. So we're gonna have a busy week.
Yeah. And I know you, just on the topic of having a little cough there, which you don't, I just wanted to say, oh my God, we didn't get sick from Vogue Knitting Live.
That is true. We saw a lot of human beings in relatively up close space. And
knock on, we only have metal things.
Right. It's
been a full week.
We dodged a few bullets.
Yeah. We rode the subway. We were around a lot of people. We didn't really mask because we're vaccinated. Trying to get back to normal, but yeah, it was wild.
It was wild. You're wearing our origin story.
Yeah, we've already talked the sweater to death, but like I said, I'm out of new handmade sweaters, so they're just going to be cycling through. But this is the Vika sweater from Brooklyn Tweed. I'll link it in the show notes. Knit out of Peggy's Corriedale.
Yeah, looks great.
And what are you wearing?
I am wearing a sweater I knit a very long time ago. If you're familiar with Spa in Freeport, Maine, it's usually the last weekend in February. And years ago, with some friends, I went there not knowing what to expect. And it's hand knitters, but also a lot of spinners take over Freeport.
Spa?
It's called Spa. I don't know why it's called Spa.
Does it stand for anything?
If it does, I don't know. But you'd go into a hotel lobby, and it's just people knitting, people spinning, and in this downstairs area of one of the hotels, there's all these conference rooms just loaded with hand spinners. And I was down in our little corner with our group, and a woman walked by wearing this sweater, and I was just absolutely...
You got to show the back.
Gobsmacked. Yeah, so let me show you the back. So that's,
I love that white detailing.
You're knitting it the whole time on a diagonal. Anyway, I chased this poor woman down, and I said, I love your sweater. What's the pattern? And she kind of couldn't remember, but she said, my whole knitting group, we all knit it. And I was like, wow. And I went on to Ravelry. Long story short, I forgot the pattern at home, but I did track it down. It's out of print, but I found a way to get it shipped to me, and we'll put it in the notes, the name of it. But it was an adventure for me to knit something like this, and I hand dyed. So all my sheep, some of it is dyed. Somewhere on that same weekend, I saw someone combining chocolate with raspberry, and I was like, I love that combination. So
in a food.
No, they were knitting a shawl.
Okay, chocolate
with chocolate colors and raspberry colors.
My mind just is going
great to food.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't wear it very often, but I was like,
I love it.
Yeah, thanks.
I love the two different color Morits you've got going on, and
right there.
Beautiful. Did you hand spin this or
a lot of it? I hand spun. All this was hand spun. Yeah.
Looks great.
Yeah, long time ago. You know, maybe 7 years ago.
Great.
So anyway, that's what I'm wearing today,
Nice.
and I'll put the name of the pattern you'll put the name of the pattern in the notes to this Millcast.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's that. So back to the elephant in the room. Vogue Knitting Live was it last weekend?
It was last weekend.
Wow.
Already it feels so far
away.
Yeah, we
and we did our Millcast that showed it to you, so we won't go too much.
You
in
saw
the weeds.
event, but we didn't really have the time last week to sit down and do a debrief. So here we are doing it.
Doing a bit of a debrief. The weekend before that, we had been at the Boston Public Market at the New England Farm and Fiber, which Wing and a Prayer and Taproot had thrown. And we had such a fabulous time there.
Yeah.
I think we were on a ramp of wow, this is great. Wait till we get to New York.
Yeah.
And
it was a little of a womp womp. I think here's how I'll reframe it. Boston was awesome. That was a great weekend. Great job, Tammy and Amanda. You organized one heck of a festival. We had I think our best weekend ever.
It was incredible.
And it was easy. And we were just feeling the love. We had a lot of people come up to us that were already fans. They were like there.
But as a festival, it was really clear they were taking care of the vendors. I mean, I think we talked about the cart coming by, but people would come, people who were
refreshment cart,
organizing it. Do you have it? Do you need anything? And really mindful of the vendor experience. And at Vogue,
and additionally, we saw actually some of our custom processing customers, farmers who have sheep, were there, and we can talk fiber, we can talk animals, we can talk people. Just they got it. They knew what a mill was. They knew what we were doing, and then we got to Vogue, and it was in the Marriott Marquis, which is right on Times Square. It is like one of those giant convention hotels where you move in and you never see the light of day.
No.
And we knew that going that would be the case, but it kind of set the vibe for how the weekend
I think the other thing, and you had brought this up, that so we were the only mill as far as I could tell there.
Yep.
And there were really very few vendors representing actual farms.
Yep.
So that was a little, I guess I had thought there would be more awareness, breed specific, conscious of, what kind of American wool. And instead, the majority of it were vendors who were dying over blanks and or were creating unique yarns at an anonymous mill.
It was also just a lot more fashion.
Yeah,
there
yeah.
Some of the vendors there were more into the pattern design, and I think it was just very different than what we're used to, which is kind of what we went for, to see how does it go.
Right.
So we were feeling a little out of place. That said, we met a ton of lovely humans there.
Yeah, and it was fun. Some people who knew us, it was nice to have some folks thrilled that we were there and knew us, and we were introduced to an awful lot of people that were unfamiliar, and as soon as they realized we were Vermont, it was hilarious. They were trying to connect in any which way to
people
bond.
love Vermonters in New York City. We had this experience when Cody and I just started dating, because I was living in New York City and he was living up here, so we did the long distance thing. So he'd come down from the countryside, and everywhere we went, where are you from? Well, I live in Vermont, and people would be like, I love Vermont. Yeah. I go skiing in Vermont. I grew up. I practically still live in Vermont, except I'm in Manhattan right now.
Vermont, the state of Vermont has done an amazing job of maintaining this ethos, mystique that is just out there in the world.
I think
Vermont
Bernie Sanders sort of
Ben and Jerry's with their iconic cow image, which is ubiquitous in
Green Mountain State. And I think people really connected with us through the state, and we were there to say, it's pretty great here. You should try to come to Vermont. You should come visit the mill. So hopefully some people do, and we'd love to see you up here. I can definitely relate to that feeling of wanting to leave the city for Vermont. I'm really glad I did, and I have sheep now and all that fun stuff. But
now we had a very nice neighbor. We have to say, so Bridget from Cowgirl Blues. Just the nicest. She was working her tush off.
When we moved in Friday morning, it was a little before 10 a.m. We had people carting our stuff up from the loading dock. We get to our booth and start setting up, and our neighbor is setting up as well. And we sort of mosey over there and introduce ourselves. And she said she's from South Africa. And I was like, oh my gosh, we thought we had a hard time.
We thought it was a challenge to get down to Vermont and load it in. She came over from South Africa. She had to ship all her yarns over.
So we sort of had a rapport with her, and she,
what a really lovely lady,
just so lovely. And I think that was sort of some of the moments that made this a fun experience.
So at one point we were getting towards the end, and I had been eyeing some of her yarns, which are very different.
Hand-dyed yarns, and she's a lot of Peggy will show you.
She has a lot that's got mohair. So I started to drool over this, and this is something we could never make. That's, I think, the key. You want to swap for something you couldn't do, and this is 70% mohair and 30% silk. And I saw this and I thought, I want to pair this with our Montadale Cheviot purple, where you carry both strands at the same time. And Amanda's been talking about a pattern by Petite Knits called Sophie Scarf.
Yeah.
And I thought,
everyone's got this.
it's that tight little cute, just a little, this little something. And I thought it would be so cool to do it with one strand of this and one strand of that.
Yep.
And then evidently Amanda was thinking the exact same.
Yeah, I may or may not do it with mine. I ended up getting a mustard color. I forgot to bring it today, but it's also very lovely. I love knitting with this mohair silk blend, and like I said, it's nothing that we can do here, but Petite Knit, as you all know, is one of my favorite pattern designers, and she does a lot of her samples have that like the glow from the mohair
and
silk.
I've never knit with anything like it, so
I don't know that people tend to knit it on its own because it's just so lightweight.
She had some shawls that were very ethereal.
They're very fluffy.
Yeah.
But you can also pair it with our farm yarn. Like either the stuff we make at the mill or, our own sheep's yarn. Yeah. Anything you can find around, Vermont, and it gives it a little bit more of like a posh look. Yeah. So soft.
Luxe.
So it was very luxe. And let's see, what else? So there was a little clip in our video, but there were some fashion shows happening up on the 6th floor. We were down on the 5th floor. But both of us kind of snuck up there to see a little bit of what was going on, and
which is fun.
You found some goodies.
Yeah, so right
across
show. From the fashion show was a company called Jewel Design, and this I bought, and that's kind of standard, right? This will just be another version of stick this in here and hold it in place. And I said to her, well, how do you prevent this from sliding out? And she goes, well, the wave is going to keep it from sliding out. I was like, okay. I believe you, but the one that was, I thought,
it looks
really,
like a teeny tiny spoon.
It's called the Good Tools Salt Spoon Shawl Stick.
Ooh, that
made out of white brass.
In Indonesia.
Yes, made in Indonesia. Yeah.
Is all her stuff made in Indonesia?
I believe so. Huh. But the one thing that caught my eye, because as we know, I don't like dealing with buttons, and I thought this was really cool. This is a button, but it's got a little post on the bottom.
A leather piece?
Yep, a little leather piece so that you can put it in however you want to, connect two things together. And then you just pop this on the back. So no buttonholes, no permanent buttons.
Brilliant.
And there you go. And it came with 3.
I still don't exactly understand, because you're not going to then unbutton it like without
no, it's
having,
not permanent, but it's for the day.
It's for something you want to put on, keep on.
Right, if I could do 3 buttons and put them all on and done, and then at the end of the day,
take that off, you're gonna
then you got to go in and you got to pull this off. Yeah, there's that extra hassle, but
I think it's very cool.
I thought it was, and now we're going to find out if I ever actually use it.
Yeah,
but I liked it as an alternative to the stick.
Yeah, I think that's great. My purchase, other than our trade, I didn't bring the big tub, but this is one of our fans of the Millcast had recommended checking out Hawaiian Moon Aloe, and I think because they were at Vogue Knitting, it was kind of hard not to check them out.
Right.
We were just down the way from them.
Yeah.
And every time we sort of walked by Lisa, who I don't know if she was working there or she's the owner of the booth.
Boy, if she isn't the owner, that owner should be very grateful.
Lisa, you were the world's best saleswoman.
She was a pitchmeister of the best.
Yeah, so I got talked into getting some of this, and it is good stuff. It's very like gel-like. You probably can't tell that, but it's got so it's made mostly with this type of aloe, which from what I understand is it sits below the layer of the skin.
Yeah.
Lisa.
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel greasy or anything, but I have to say it doesn't really do the trick for me on like, the be all end all of moisturizing. I have to reapply a lot.
Right.
But Cody said that he is going to take another little one of these for when he plays music, because again, with not wanting to get grease on his instruments, he plays the mandolin. This will be good for gigs.
Cody's a very good mandolin player.
He is. But she was selling it sort of at a knitting festival, because similarly, like knitters, I guess, don't want to get like grease on their projects or whatever. I use like a lot of lanolin based stuff, so I think it's just sort of adding sheep back to sheep. But it is good.
And she did sell it to you, boy.
She did.
She got the little one, the big tub. Then she saw me and knew I was with Amanda in the booth. She goes, "Have I got a deal?"
Oh, she sold Cody too, and Cody's like, "Oh, I think my wife got some, but maybe I'll try." And he's not like a lotion guy. In fact, he always is giving me kind of a hard time for the number of lotions that acquire in our house, where he was even like, "Can I have a little bit of that?"
Yeah, the whole time she's making the pitch, she's lathering you up and rubbing. Doesn't it? Look at how your hands are. Anyway.
I got the feeling my skin after. She's like, oh, honey. Bigger squirt. Anyways, it was good.
It was good. So to end out our Vogue Knitting Live experience, we had been talking as we were leading up to it that Peg's going to be down there with the big truck. And I got to say,
God.
I had no problems, drove down on the west side, went and checked out where the parking garage is going to be, then went and found the loading dock, then went back to, so that went all fine. Then on Sunday
and we should back up and say thank you for somebody suggested the app.
Oh, yeah, because
Spot
Hero. I had originally thought there's no way I can park a truck in these garages because they don't want
you were going
to
go park it out of town.
Yeah, I was going to park it out of town, take the train back in, go take the train.
What a pain.
And then we learned about Spot Hero, and it's an app that you can use, I think, anywhere in the country, certainly on the East Coast, where you can say where you're going, find out the nearest garage, and reserve spot.
It's kind of like an Airbnb for parking
Absolutely.
spots.
And it says, if you're oversized, we don't take oversized, or yes, we do, but there's an extra upcharge.
Yeah, we both used it. So I got a spot near where we were staying for, I think it was like $150 for the weekend, which we were there for a very long weekend. It was valet. It was lovely. They were very nice, easy.
Yeah.
But you got a spot for the truck right next to Times Square.
Yeah, a couple blocks off, so that on Sunday when I had to go over there, and it was Sunday? Sunday. To get a little bit of reload, we used the truck as the sort of staging area for bringing in extra yarn. So it all went very smoothly, but then Amanda and Cody and Maeve are packing up the booth, and they got to wait for the cart. And, we want to try and get on the road at a reasonable hour. So I then head off to go get the truck.
You can't load your own stuff out in a Vogue Knitting Live.
Right, because it's a union environment. And so those carts have to get loaded and then onto the elevator and then down into the basement to the loading dock. So I left you guys.
Yeah.
And I went to go get the truck. And it was a Sunday matinee. So the garage was right next to some of the big Broadway shows.
Yeah.
And it was chaos. It was zoo. But I was crawling. And I thought came out wide on the garage, and I'm just thinking about where again is the loading dock, and then crunch, and I sideswiped a car, and I was moving slow, so the damage wasn't immense, but
we'll show a picture.
I'd hit another car, so I'm immediately thinking, oh my God, the paperwork, and I thought, Amanda and Cody are going to be down there with the carts, and I'm going to be stuck here, and we were having trouble with our
I
texting
could not
back and
get
forth.
service in New York City. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So I'm getting out of the car, and I said to the guy, I'm so sorry. And Mario could not have been better. He goes, this is not bad. We don't need to get insurance involved. I can touch this up. We took a picture of each other's driver's license. We made sure we each had each other's phone number. He goes, I'll work on this, and I'll let you know. And I was like, 5 minutes, we're set, and I'm back on the road. But now I'm driving very carefully, making certain because I had to drive to 8th Avenue, drive up, come back around, come right down the middle of Times Square. But other than that little hiccup, it went pretty well.
It was very smoothly.
Yeah. And Mario did call me a couple days later, told me what it was. I said, thank you, this is great. My apologies.
And your attitude, I think you had this going into it. We need to keep our sense of humor, and you totally did. You were still in fine spirits when I saw you.
What are we going to do? Nobody got hurt, and the truck's got a little dent on it.
Yeah. So
that concluded.
It was an adventure.
It was an adventure.
We all had fun.
Yeah.
And Vogue Knit. It took us to New York City. We got to meet a lot of great folks. So we'll see if we do it again. But
we'll see.
It was an experiment.
Yeah, so
moving forward.
Yeah, moving forward with a little bit of reference to Vogue Knitting Live, Maeve the model was there, and you've got to see. We have not shown this on the Millcast really until now.
It is so good.
Look
all right,
at this.
So you all remember the stocking?
Yeah, the Christmas stocking.
That I was making. I sent the picture of Maeve wearing this to my mom, and she said, "It looks just like the stocking." I was like, "Good catch."
Yeah.
It is. Another pattern by Ona Walton, and apologies to Ona, we had been mispronouncing her name the whole time. But Ona is a local pattern designer to us, and she knit this and came into the mill the other week and said, this is a gift for Maeve. So it's her pattern, it's knit in our yarn, and it was a gift for Maeve. So of course I brought it with to all the festivals, and it helped us sell a lot of this colorway, which is the
Firefly.
Making Tracks Firefly, which again, it does a great job of explaining how the skein changes as you knit it, because all these colors are in one skein. Anyways, I'll post a picture. I finally got around to taking some decent photos of her wearing this. But yeah, at Vogue Knitting, I was definitely parading her around a little bit. Peggy was looking at me like, you're just shameless.
Shameless.
Here we go.
Totally understandable, but yeah.
Yeah, it's adorable. Maeve loves the pom-poms. So thank you so much, Ona. This is the Lindell hat. The stocking I knit was called the Lindell Holiday Stocking, so it's all part of her Lindell collection, and it's short rows, y'all. It is so fun to knit. Someone at the at Vogue was saying, "Oh, short rows," and I was like, "Are you kidding? I had a blast with this. I think it's so much fun." So, she's got like a whole bunch of these types of patterns, but this one I'll say was knit. So her Lindell hat, I think the sizing changes just based on needle sizes and yarn sizes. So this one fits Maeve pretty well. It's like a little big on her, and it was knit with size 4 needles with our yarn. But Ona said you could knit our yarn with anything from like 4s to 8s, I think.
So that's how you get the bigger hat.
Yeah, so like if I wanted to knit one for myself, maybe I'd go with like an 8 and see how it goes. It'd be a little looser.
Right.
So that's that.
That's good.
Thank you, Ona.
Yeah.
Everyone go check out her pattern. She does some really lovely stuff.
Yeah. Can't get over how many comments we got after Vogue Knitting, but we've been getting great comments all along on the Millcast, and we can't thank you enough for taking the time to do that.
Yeah.
It's incredibly thoughtful.
Yeah, so one of the comments from the most, I guess it was like 3 episodes ago, I was talking about my troubles with my knitting project because I'm doing bobbles where I have to knit 3 through the back loop, which has just been tricky to get my needles, even with the chow goo.
Yeah, with the very pointy.
It's still, and I think I've sort of dulled my 6s a little bit because I'm always knitting with them. Is that possible?
Do they sell a sharpener?
Yeah, and you need a little pencil sharpener. Anyways, we had a comment recommending to size down the left needle because you're knitting with your right needle only for gauge, and I had that thought had never crossed my mind before. So when I go to, I'm happy to knit with the same size needles throughout, but then when I go
with that row with all the bobbles,
I switch it down to, and the woman recommended, I shouldn't assume it was a woman, recommended to just size down 2 sizes. I forgot that part of it, so I sized down from a 6 to a 2.
Perfect.
And great.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
No problem getting that needle in there.
Yeah, so much better. And then I just switch it back to a 6 when I keep going. So thank you for that comment. And we always love to see the comments. So thank you for engaging with us through that.
Yeah, so you're still working on that sweater.
Yeah, should I show it now? Is it time?
Yeah, sure.
I haven't been that inspired to knit. We were talking about this morning, so I haven't gotten very far on it. I did a little.
Yeah, and here are the bobbles. Yeah.
Yep, so I'm on a bobble. Actually, you can see it now. Size 2, size 6.
There you go.
Because you switch directions and go the wrong side to go through the bobble. So
fascinating.
Yeah. So I'm just about to separate. This is the festival sweater from none other than Petite Knit. I think it's like I might have put 1 more or 2 more rows than needed between the bobble rows. I was just trying to gauge. It was supposed to be 3.5 centimeters. Anyways, I think it's going to come out a little big for Maeve because I'm just going to separate
she
arms.
will grow.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I know. It's amazing. It's amazing.
The bane of my existence is this child growing out of her sweater. She should have like a whole host of sweaters, and she only has 1 or 2 that fit it.
Well, yeah.
So I'm still working on that, and it's going slowly.
Yeah, and I'm still working on the Stephen West sweater. I didn't bring it in because I've only got like another 1.5 inches. It's just been slow, and I think I think you go through phases, and I'm just.
So what are you doing instead of knitting? I should ask that.
Projects around the house. Walking, being outdoors.
We were gone for 2 weekends in a row. I think it's very reasonable.
There's no question because I do most of my knitting on the weekends.
Yep.
And obviously football season is over too, so that.
Yes.
Yeah, I have to wait for golf to come in. I do like watching golf because it's usually in a very warm, beautiful place, and it's mud season, that kind of thing. Anyway, shall we talk about what's going on in the mill?
Yeah, what's going on in the mill?
We've got a lot of projects, but there's one we kind of wanted to bring your attention to. We've talked about different breeds, but we are in the middle of a very big order with a breed called Cormo.
And for us, very big is this order is it 300 pounds?
Yeah, it's about 300 pounds. It's raw. 2 separate jobs, but yeah.
Yep. So when we discuss orders and jobs, orders is like the customer brought off a lot of wool, and I mean like an amount of wool.
Right.
And then the jobs are the individual types of products you want, whether
Right.
that's roving or yarn
or yarn and 2 different sizes.
Yep.
So one job is at this weight and one job's at another weight.
And we do our darndest to make sure, like, within that job, there's a lot of blending happening so that all of your yarn is looking the same
Right.
in that one job. So this is job 1.
So this is Cormo, and I'm going to move it in, and I'm hoping that you'll be able to see the what's called the crimp, the tight little wiggle all the way from one end to the other. This is an incredibly soft fiber, meaning the micron count is very low, so soft to the touch. But this crimp means that that crimp stays in the fiber's memory, and when we're all done, this should be a really super soft, squishy yarn. So this is it raw. The challenge that's a good example.
So you can see so you've got, this is the side that was the end, so this is
Right.
growing out all year, and then this side is where it's
perfect.
just been shorn off the animal.
Right.
Sheared or shorn?
Yeah, about 4.5 inches long.
Yeah, so this is really our bread and butter staple length right
Yeah.
here. We love the
We
staple length.
love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Cormo, the other thing we're getting from Cormo, you guys can't tell because you can't reach out and touch this, unfortunately, but there's a lot of lanolin on Cormo.
Cormo has a
grease.
The marvelous lanolin. So scouring Cormo is
a challenge.
a challenge. Right now we're basically scouring it 3 times and rinsing it 3 times.
Yep.
And staying very on top of it. You don't want to agitate it, you don't want to felt it, but we are able to move it up and down in the water to really make certain all the surfaces are being exposed to the heat and the detergent.
Yeah,
and it's still challenging.
We need to get that grease or that lanolin off before it reaches our machines. Otherwise, it starts to gunk up all of the metal parts.
Right. Now, what's interesting about this, and I think you've seen other jobs, but I kind of wanted to point it out. So this person had a lot of white, but she also had morit, which is the chocolate, either light chocolate or dark, and then a little bit of gray. And so it's like this. You can see there's different colors that we've blended.
So this is when it's been. So you right now you're seeing a little bit of, it's a little on the yellow white side. That's mostly the lanolin that's causing it to be that color. So you can see now it's washed up.
Yeah, Cormo is brilliant white.
It's bright white, and this is the fleece once it's been washed or scoured, dried, and then picked with the, to blend a couple of these colors together.
Right, and I'm just going to show you as an example. This is a pretty big order.
Oh my gosh, this is a small amount.
This is one bag of about a dozen this size.
Yep.
So you can see there's all these different colors in there, but they're still all pretty individual colors.
Yep.
And then we wanted to show you what happens once it goes through the carder. You begin to see, so this is the very same thing, only it's been through the carder and begun to get blended. I should have untied the knot before I, hold on, here we go.
Tried to pick an easy one.
Yeah, so look at the color. Isn't that fabulous?
So you get, and now I'm still seeing like a little bit of the individual morit and black and, the white fibers, but once it goes, the next step for this is to be pin drafted twice, and by that point, it's gonna be completely blended. Every single yard will be the same as every other yard, and because it's Cormo, because it's so crimpy, that does mean that our roving tends to be a little bit thicker because it doesn't want to draft as far apart from the other fibers. As an example, even if you just try to pull this, I actually have to pull quite hard to get these fibers to draft or pull apart. So when we're going into the pin drafter, that's a consideration because we want our, we will look at the yarn that the customer wants, which is they want a worsted 3-ply. So we're gonna go with probably like I don't know, I would say we're going to speed up the pin drafter a bit to try to draft apart those fibers to get a little bit more reasonable size of roving. And if that's too in the weeds, come back next time and we'll tell you more about it.
It's really fun that so the picker can do some blending, but that carder has really put it all together, and it's this sort of very soft brown. There's a little bit of black in there, so it'll be fun to see.
It's gonna be lovely, and I think that this customer will really want to dye over.
She's very into over dyeing.
So I'd be excited to see, and I think that morit is just gonna give a little bit of warmth to any color that she wants to do with it.
Absolutely.
So
yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
but it's gonna take us because we only have 8 spindles. this is a job that's going to kind of dominate the mill for certainly this week.
Yep, and this is just the first job. We're going to, I think, slot some other jobs in between job 1, job 2, just to allow us to catch up on carding the next job.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, it's nice to play with the
With
beautiful
some-
wool.
with
It's
some
so
really-
soft, you guys.
really
I
fabulous.
wish you could feel it.
Yeah. So that's what's going on in the mill. We have an open house coming up
on Friday. Yeah.
So if you're in the area.
Yep, we are doing these monthly now. So if you are wanting to come in and get a tour of the mill and do some shopping here in person, this is the time to do it.
Yeah, we'd love to see you.
Yep. So February 24th from 3 to 5 p.m.
Time is flying.
I know. And what were we talking about earlier as your gauge for time?
Yeah, because the next big event on the farm is shearing, and shearing all of a sudden that happens on the 18th of March, and I'm like going, oh man, that's
less than a month.
Less than a month, and for us, once shearing happens, then we're into the getting ready for lambing, and that becomes kind of all consuming, and we're breeding 15 ewes, so yikes, and yikes. But it's all good. It's all good.
It's all fun. So join us next time, and we'll probably have some of this, I don't know, hopefully we'll have some yarn to show you.
Yeah, hopefully.
Cormo.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.